Okay. Let people jump on this little weather chat live. Lower the seat just a bit. I'm Alan Holt. Get to talk weather every day, and it's my job. Very thankful for it. We'll hang out here for a few minutes, let people join up. It's 8:40 on a Wednesday night, February the 19th. This is live at this point on our YouTube, 3 News Plus, and the Facebook stream. I will get to questions eventually. It's I'll go through the whole shebang, and then, if there are still questions after that, I'll just try to scroll through and see where we're at. But in for a freeze tonight, a lot of locations in the coastal bend. I think at this point, even the island may be looking at a light freeze, given that at last check, Port Aransas was at 34 degrees. So let me get the graphics going here. There's Texas. And by the way, thank you for joining us if you are watching here on the live feed. So it's cold throughout the state. We're in the mid-30s in Corpus Christi right now, 10 up in Amarillo, teens in Lubbock. It's 25 in the capital. Very cold. This is the southern periphery of a big batch of Arctic air that is gripping a lot of the midsection of the country. Here's a live look at our LexCam, and there are some clouds overhead. We had a glimmer of sunshine today. Not, it was hardly any blue out there, but there were a few pops of sun, and temperatures got into the middle 40s this afternoon, a little bit south of where we were thinking. And, this cold front it came in more aggressively than even the more aggressive modeling was indicating. So it came in stronger than I think we were anticipating by just 2 or 3 degrees. It's not like a huge, difference, but it has caused us to shift a few numbers around heading in to tomorrow morning. The winds are still pretty breezy, north 22, feels like it's 24 outside. Again, it is cloudy. Ooh, from Schulenburg, Jeanette Perez. I was in Schulenburg for one of my best friend's weddings not too long ago, last November. I even went and stopped by and watched the marching band. They were playing somewhere. It was a home game. Nice feel to that town. Went to a coffee shop, went on Main Street too. So, wow, that triggered a lot of memories. So fun, cool. Thank you for joining us from Schulenburg. We are, again, talking about freezing temperatures for a lot of locations overnight tonight. You see the clouds. The clouds will be passing through the region as the night progresses. And, temperatures are already freezing in some spots. So Mathis, Sinton, Beeville, all coming in at or below freezing. Port Aransas, a bit of a surprise at 34 degrees. I was thinking, there may be a little bit more Gulf influence there, the way you're seeing at the Naval Air Station in Flower Bluff. I was thinking Port Aransas would be more in that category, but Port Aransas is, coming in mid-30s right now, 1 degree colder than it is out at the Corpus Christi International Airport. So I did adjust that forecast to account for that reading that I'm seeing right now. We'll get to the numbers here in a second. But with, most of the area is going to observe some variety of freezing temperatures tonight. There is a freeze warning for the entire area. This is from the Weather Service. They do not have any of the barrier islands highlighted. There may need to be an adjustment there, just given what I'm seeing right now in Port Aransas. So Freeze warning area-wide, that's going to be in effect officially at 9, but some locations are already into that freezing territory, and that'll last through 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. So there are going to be variations as to what different locations observe, whether it's a light freeze or a hard freeze, and really the number to pay attention to when you're talking light versus hard freeze is 28. If temperatures are 28 or below, that's when you're talking hard freeze. If it's above that, generally a light freeze. And the major difference between the two is that in the hard freeze locations, it's a crop killing type of freeze for vegetation that's not protected. And there may be some structures or situations where you have some pipe issues with respect to those beginning to freeze. With the light freeze, it's more of a sensitive vegetation thing, and it's not really a pipe dripping or bursting type of scenario. So that's the difference between the two freeze types, if you want to call it that. There's not really a type, it's just how we describe them, light versus hard freeze. And temperatures, they're going to be cold. I did drop Port Aransas to 32 overnight. That's a change from our broadcasts at 5 and 6. I had Port Aransas originally at 34. You're there right now. So it stands to reason that you're going to get down there to the freeze point in Port Aransas. You see the hard freeze numbers from Hebronville, Benavides, Alice, Robstown, Sinton, Refugio points to the north of that. That's where I think the hard freeze will be. And then closer to the coast, the light freeze. One thing about the freeze, when we say the word freeze, right? I'm like thinking about this because part of my job also is to effectively communicate, not just spit out a bunch of numbers. And I can understand how saying it's going to freeze tonight sounds icy, right? It sounds like, oh, okay, well, a freeze, that means everything's going to ice up. I get it. But when we talk about a freeze, we talk about, and we're referencing as meteorologists, the temperature. And 32 is the point where, water will begin to freeze if it's in that temperature for long enough. So with respect to the roads, because there is not any water on the road or moisture, it really didn't rain today, a few little areas of mist last night, it's not going to be problematic on the roads. So the bridges, no problem there. It'll be dry, so there will not be any ice on the roads if you're curious about that. The wind chill will certainly be cold tomorrow, teens and low 20s, but with respect to icing, not going to have that problem into tomorrow morning. This is another question that gets asked very regularly, and it's the amount of time spent at or below freezing. And, the places that are in line for the hard freeze, from Hebronville through Benavides, Alice, Sinton, Refugio, those spots, that's where it could be 12 plus hours sub-freezing. Some locations like Beeville, right, Mathis, those spots are already freezing. It's the 8 o'clock hour, and it stands to reason that you might be freezing through 10 or 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. So you're talking 12 plus hours at or below freezing. Corpus Christi, the metro area, that light blue shade, I think 4 to 8 hours. I think the freezing temperatures in the city don't arrive till after midnight. The airport, a little bit before that. The airport's a little more removed from where most people live. It's west of town. And a longer duration freeze there, 6 to 10 hours. And, that's where I'm at on the times. The island I'm curious to see how that 34 at Port Aransas moves over the next couple of hours. If it stays there or even goes up, might not get there. It's a tough forecast when you're talking about living next to a body of water like the Gulf, right? Where the temperatures out there are still in the 50s, if not low 60s on the sea surface temps. So it's a tricky forecast that you're really only talking about a degree threshold where you either are or are not freezing. So area-wide, I would say that the freeze preps should be taking place. Now, to what level those preps, are taking place, that's going to be location dependent, but that's where I'm at with the freeze time. The hyperlocal outlook now, this is just around the Corpus Christi Bay area. I did drop Port Aransas to 32. I kept the island, North Padre Island, south of Mustang Island at 33. It's 1 degree. So, if sensitive vegetation across the board should be protected. The Ocean Drive area, Flower Bluff near the Naval Air Station, those locations may stay just above the freeze mark. And that is because of a little microclimate we've got going on here where, the Corpus Christi Bay water temps, they were reported in the 60s earlier today, but I'd venture to say that with the cold air that we've had in place, those temps have dropped into the 50s. And because the wind is coming in from the north, the water does have a say in how that air comes into Corpus Christi when the winds are out of the north. So you get a warming influence out of the Gulf, or not the Gulf, the Corpus Christi Bay in parts of Corpus Christi. So that may spare some of the locations right along the Oso and Corpus Christi Bay from getting into a freeze. I think the south side gets there. Most of, if not all of the south side gets there. The airport gets there. Downtown Corpus Christi is going to be close because there's not as much influence on that wind coming in over the Corpus Christi Bay. North of the bay, I think it's a much more concrete yes. 29 in GP, 30 in places like Aransas Pass, Ingleside, and then extending up to the Rockport, Fulton area. So that's the take on the hyperlocal climate around the Corpus Christi Bay. A lot of people don't have to deal with the Gulf, right? When you're up in Austin or Dallas, your piece of real estate there that you're forecasting doesn't have a whole lot of variance the way we do here. So that definitely adds a layer of complexity when we're trying to forecast when you're talking about down to 1 degree accuracy, which is hard, even when the weather is easy. So the 4 Ps now: people, pets need to have access to warmth. However that is, they've got to have access to it. Between really now and Saturday, it's going to be pretty chilly. I wouldn't base, whether it's cold or not on whether or not a freeze warning is out in a situation like this, right? So the wind chill values are going to be well into the 20s tomorrow morning and Friday morning, maybe even Saturday morning, even though the air temperatures won't be freezing. So by Friday morning, Saturday morning, we're in the middle 30s with those wind chill values in the mid 20s, compared to tomorrow morning where we're upper 20s, low 30s, and wind chill values in the teens and low 20s. So what I'm trying to say is have access to warmth for sure through Saturday. The plants protected, especially sensitive plants, covered, brought inside, whatever you got to do now through tomorrow morning. I learned via Facebook comments that even just high wind coupled with middle 30s can do some damage. Although the plant will not freeze, it has some wind damage, and that's just what was being commented. I'm not sure about that. I do know that you have to hit 32 degrees on the air temperature for things like plants to begin reacting by freezing. So pipes, we've got a Facebook post and an article on our website about the pipes, and this is a very nuanced thing. I'm not going to be able to sit here and say that everyone needs to do the same thing given the forecast, right? If you're in a slab house where the only exterior pipes are the water hoses outside, all you really have to do tonight, my opinion, is cover those exterior spigots. I don't think that you need to drip. If you're in a slab foundation type of house, just cover the exterior pipes. If you're in a pier and beam house and you're watching from Corpus Christi, I'm talking to myself here. That's what I have, a pier and beam home where there are exposed pipes under the house, maybe exposed pipes up in the attic that's not heated, and you have the exterior hoses, right? So my thinking there is, again, this is straight up from here. This is not right now, like that I know of, written in a textbook. This is just from experience. So pier and beam homes where you have some pipes that may not be completely protected, I think that a good metric would be that if you're in that hard freeze range, you're getting down to 28 or lower for several hours, that's when you would need to think about dripping one faucet that's the furthest away from your water source with just the cold lever, the cold side of your faucet. You don't need to turn the hot water on with it. It's the movement of water in the pipes that helps mitigate the freeze risk. So that's where I'd be on a pier and beam. So for me tonight, I'm probably not going to drip. Everything's wrapped up, but I'm not going to drip. I don't think it's warranted. And even if I decided to drip, let's say I go home and I said, no, I'm going to drip tonight, right? It's a slow drip. Like we did this last night. Like maybe even slower than that. Sorry if that was weird and awkward, but that's who I am. The dripping is not a steady stream. It's not a fast drip. For lack of a better example, if you have a bowl that you can fit a bag of popcorn in, right? Just like the regular bag of popcorn you buy at the store. That size bowl probably will hold all of the dripping the entire night. At least it did for me. And then I just gave it to the dogs. It filled up like 2 dog bowls of water. So that's where I'm at with the dripping. But exterior pipes protected, drip if you need to. At some point, homeowners, you've got to take responsibility and do what you need to do to protect your home. And we're not going to be able to answer every single question for every single location, for every single structure. So that's where I'm at with the dripping. So we'll take you through tonight. The temperatures, some locations are already freezing. There will be passing clouds overnight. It doesn't clear out completely. By tomorrow morning, hard freeze on a line from Hebronville to Refugio and north of that. Very close in Flower Bluff and the island and Port Aransas. I did drop Port Aransas to 32. Wind chill values will be in the teens tomorrow morning. Very cold. I know it's colder in other locations. I get it. But for us, this is a significant cold snap. I was talking to Mike earlier on our broadcast. And, houses up north, they are much more equipped to handle extreme cold, right? They've got better insulation. It's just they're more equipped for it. Our housing here, and I'm just going to speak for my 1940s build, it's made to breathe. That house that I'm in is made to be tolerable in hot climates. So it's the analogy that I'll use is like, the housing here is like going into a blizzard wearing a windbreaker, right? While they have winter jackets in the blizzard, we've got windbreakers. And that's just the general way I see the housing here compared to the way it is up north. So cold, it's going to be cold tomorrow morning. Throw all your winter gear on, put layers on. That's the best defense. Layering up with that outer shell, the most wind resistant shell, and the warmer you'll be. So the hat, the gloves, maybe 2 pairs of socks, that all helps. It seems weird and silly to do, but it definitely helps. Just another thing that I'll do. I'm going to take a swig of water. Another thing, so I'm a golfer, big time golfer. I love to play. And when it's cold outside, right, when the temps are, just kind of chilly, what I'll do is just take 1 extra layer than I think I'm going to need. I know I'm going to be outside for several hours. So when you're outside for a long time, it's like colder than you think it's going to be. So if you do have to spend a lot of time outside tomorrow, maybe you're working outside and you got a big project you're doing tomorrow, advice would be to take 1 extra layer on top of what you typically think you need. The wind stays breezy all day, 10 to 20, mid to low 40s, upper 30s. It gets thicker with the clouds tomorrow. So it'll be similar to today with the temperatures, but the clouds get thicker as the day progresses. And then into Friday, another cold morning with temperatures in the mid 30s for the most part, 40s at the coast, and wind chill values in the 20s. And this is the point I was trying to make earlier, is that because it's not freezing doesn't mean it's not cold, and pets can just go right outside and people don't need help. It will be cold into Friday morning, and then we'll add in moisture Friday afternoons. Rain chances are going to start to work in from the south, and Friday, because of that, may stay in the mid to low 40s. So we're talking, it will be very cold here, and rain is going to start to work into the region. So that starts happening Friday afternoon/night. I've got us at scattered activity around 40%. I think it will rain Friday, so maybe that percentage should be higher, but I think the chances will come after most of the day is over. So there's some play there mentally with how I'm representing Friday's rain chance. Saturday, it just looks like off and on light rain, like drizzle, mist, light rain, off and on throughout the day. Saturday, just a dud of a weekend day. Then Sunday, we get a little payoff, some lingering morning showers. And I think those morning showers, again, are likely. And this is how, again, I'm into the communication of how this all looks and plays out, right? So I do think there's a really good chance for rain Sunday in the morning, but it will not rain all day. In fact, Sunday afternoon looks really nice, mid 60s with some sun. So when in actuality, I think there's a decent chance, like a good chance for rain really early Sunday morning through about sunrise, say. Most of the day is going to be nice, so I put the 20% there. I'll fine-tune this with the actual times and some ups and downs, but that's the general idea, the thinking right now. Couple tenths of an inch, this is not a huge and big drought busting type of rain that's going to be happening. So the culprit will be something that's been happening with almost every cold front we've seen come through here this weekend. It will retreat to the north, and a coastal low will develop off of the tail end of it. So as that starts to get closer to us, it will raise the rain chances. 40s Friday afternoon. Look at what happens into Saturday morning. Some pink hues showing up there on our in-house modeling, and that would be a transition to freezing rain or sleet up near San Antonio and north. So that's not for us at this point. Our temperatures look to stay above the freeze mark in South Texas and the coastal bend. If that changes, we would adjust. But right now, again, mid-30s is what we're thinking into Saturday morning. And you'll see how that rain stays around. You'll notice how the modeling got a little bit different from Saturday morning to Saturday afternoon. It's not as clear. That's the changeover from high res to the longer range global modeling. So, you know, because we're getting farther out in time, you don't get as much clarity in the data. That should say on the bottom bullet point, wind chill in the middle 30s Saturday afternoon. That's not air temperature. Wind chill in the middle 30s. But again, damp, off and on, light rain. And that coastal low is going to be stubborn. It just sits there for a day and a half, maybe 2 days, from Friday afternoon through Sunday morning. So that finally works away, but not before, again, a little bit more Sunday morning. It'll be lingering in the early morning. And I think we're in the mid 40s on Sunday morning before warming into the middle 60s in the afternoon, and sunshine comes back. So that will feel very nice. This is how the 7-day looks. We've got the 4-day cold snap. Today was day 1, 3 more weather impact alert days. Thursday is going to be for the freeze. Friday is going to be for the wind chill values in the middle 20s, coupled with the rain chance in the afternoon and night. Saturday's weather impact alert will be primarily for the rain chance, and then we drop it into Sunday. Could be a run of some sunny delights into early next week. That's going to be nice, especially on the heels of this cold snap. We'll snap out of it Sunday. I'll see if I can answer some questions. Yeah, I guess that's the highlight of the thing, the water dripping noise. I'll try to, just scroll through here, see if I can get the questions. Ooh, David McGuire, that's a good comment. My poor banana plant, planted it a few years ago because I didn't think it got this cold here. And we freeze, it's an interesting, perspective and comment. We do tend to freeze several times each winter. So yes, it does get cold here. And so, this February freeze is not all that abnormal. This is par for the course, golf talk. These parts this time of year. No, we're not expecting any rain overnight. No wintry modes of precip tonight into Thursday morning. So no icy roads, nothing like that. Mark Pena asking, is this going to be worse than the freeze in 2021? No, not anywhere close to that. And that one also was exacerbated by the loss of power. So your home didn't have the internal heat some of your homes didn't have the internal heat to keep pipes from having issue. So, you know, the power loss in that event made it way worse than it already was. So that's a good question there, Mark. Mike just walked by. He's dropping in. He's dropping in. Here, come on. We'll go up full
your
cam.
microphone works here.
Yeah, full cam.
Remind folks to bring their pets in.
Yes.
It is required. If the feel like temperature is 32 or below, you have to bring your pets in. I know you've been hammering on that.
Yeah, let's see what it's going to be. So is that a legal thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can be cited, I think, otherwise.
It's a city ordinance. Wow,
Yeah.
we're getting the real scoop here from across the board. Here it is. So the wind chill is going to be. Oh, wait, the people can't see that. They can see us.
They can see us.
They can only see us here.
not
Now
the best
now
thing.
they can
There we
see
go.
it. We can go back to. There we go.
Yeah.
So the wind chill values tomorrow morning, 18.
Yeah.
The light blue number. So
But
animals.
it's that feel like temperature. If it's
Yeah.
32 or below, it's an ordinance.
So-
You got to bring them in.
So they're going to be in through Saturday,
Wow.
even though there's no freeze warnings after tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah. So interesting.
You
Yeah.
got to make sure they're warm, whatever that takes.
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
it. I mean, that's what you want to do anyway. You know, be a responsible pet owner. We harp on that a lot, so try to do that.
And it doesn't have to be inside. You can have a dog house with
Yeah.
a heat lamp, as long as they have access to
Yeah,
warmth.
you just can't leave them out in the cold.
Okay,
So
yeah.
there you go. I've added my 2 cents.
There you go.
Good luck.
Yeah. Let's see if we can get into some more questions here. Scroll back up. From Leslie and Adrian Chapa. Will this be the last, quote, cold snap of the winter? When was the last late freeze? Good question. The latest freeze on record in Corpus Christi is March 31st. I believe the year was 1987 of that one. You know, there's going to be more cold fronts that come through here. It's hard to say right now that this is the coldest it's going to be for the rest of, you know, the winter season. It's the odds of freezing temperatures, I'll put it this way, tend to decrease the more into February and March we go. So this could be, but I'm not going to sit here tonight and say that this is it. I will say that the trend into March looks fairly warm, and with that, it'll, you know, the more into March we go, the less the odds and the lower the odds start to go. Jerry Perkins, are we going to have trouble to get into Corpus Christi tomorrow? No, freezing temperatures does not, that alone doesn't mean the roads will be problematic. There has to be water, moisture on the roads. That's what's turning to ice when the freezing temperatures are present. The road itself is not freezing. There's got to be rain or moisture on the road for there to be icing that is happening while temperatures are 32 or lower. So I've gotten that question a lot. We've already gone through the dripping pipes. I would Anna, can you post the weather impact story? We're gonna. Okay, thank you. That's our digital director, Anna. We got a good team over here. The dripping question. We've got several articles on that. You know. So we'll do that. That link will be on there. Another question, what about from Corpus to San Antonio? Again, without rain, the roads don't freeze. The roads will remain dry. So even though temperatures are in the low 20s, let's say they're in the low 20s, the roads will still remain dry. The concrete and the asphalt doesn't turn to ice. It's when you have rain or moisture on top of that road surface, that's when you have problems. So we'll look at the futurecast here. No rain, you know, all day tomorrow. No rain from here to San Antonio, it looks like. So shouldn't be problematic in that department. School gonna be canceled? No. Again, so the schools get canceled, to my knowledge, when it's hazardous to get to school, when the roads are dangerous, right? That's when the schools will begin to cancel classes. They won't. I have yet to see cancellations when it's when it's 29 outside and wind chills. I've not seen that, but I don't make that decision either. From what I've seen, it's more of a is it safe to get to school? And if it's not, that's when the cancellations start happening. Okay, I'm gonna log off with this one. Thank you. There's the link that was just posted on the weather impact and the freezing temperatures. If you did have a question on the pipes, I spent about 5 minutes talking about exactly that during the course of this. I don't even know how long it's been. Almost, maybe a little over 30 minutes. It's been 45 minutes. So yeah, there's been a lot of stuff covered. I invite you to rewatch it if you're just now joining. Again, a lot of the questions that are coming up right now are just from the tail end of viewing this thing. So we'll leave it there. Stay warm, stay safe, and we're going to see you the next time we do one of these or on our newscast at 10 tonight. We'll see you later.